Coming to you, recorded from atop of the standings, I have arrived. Welcome back, folks. This is the Why Do Boys Make podcast. We are recording on Tuesday, October 5th, and my name is Corby, and I will be your host. Of course, I'm not alone, nor will I ever will be. I am joined by my co-host and my dear friend, Fitzy. Fitzy, how are you doing today?
Oh, Corby, I can speak for the rest of the league when I say it is good to hear your voice again.
Yes, I'm very excited to be back, and we've got a great show ahead of us. Let's begin with the burning question on everyone's mind. Who drank the most seltzer this weekend?
Yeah, so first of all, I actually want to apologize to the fans because last week I got a little excited in the Bet of the Week segment, and I betrayed all of your trust in me. I made a $10 bet. Now, Corby and I discussed this one offline, and we decided that in order to stop things from spiraling out of control, we would bring our weekend seltzer bet back down to the standard $5 bet that you can count on us to make. So with that cleared, Corby, how did you do?
So I didn't feel great after I made this bet. After I sat on it for a while, did not feel great. But I still tried. I got 4 different types of flavors of seltzer in order to, keep myself interested in drinking it. I got a guava LaCroix, a blackberry bubbly, a blackberry polar, and a blueberry lemonade polar. Now, I had 22 cans of those varieties of flavors. On top of that, I had 3 vodka seltzers at Ryan and Anthony's wedding, which had plain ass seltzer in it, which in total gives me around 288 US fluid ounces, which when converted to gallons is 2.25 gallons of seltzer.
Wow. And they say that it's a challenge to drink a gallon of water every day. You smashed it with the bubbly stuff.
Well, all right, Fitz. How'd you do?
Well, Corby, in total this weekend, I drank 65 cans of Polar brand seltzer. Now, you saw in the video, there was a little bit of spillage. Sometimes, there's that little couple of drops in the can at the end. Let's say that I left an entire can on the table with spillage and leftovers. That leaves me with 64 cans or 768 US fluid ounces, equaling precisely 6 gallons of seltzer drinking this weekend. Corby,
Okay.
How did you feel about this?
Great. As soon as I hung up, I was like, that was so stupid. Well, anyways, speaking of another activity that makes me really gassy, let's move on to the Pick'em recap. So our first matchup of the week from last week was Eric versus Chris Cloud, where Eric was the victor. I picked Eric, Fitzy picked Chris Cloud, the coin picked Eric, and our guest Brandy also picked Eric.
Yeah, my recap here. I picked Chris Cloud because I thought it was going to come down to Monday night, and I was correct. Justin Herbert did outplay Derek Carr, But man, Cordarrelle Patterson, he strikes again. I stated a couple weeks ago on the pod, oh, he must not be fun to own. What do you do with this guy? Well, apparently you start him. I was so wrong about that one. Credit to Eric for starting him.
Absolutely. Love to see Cordarrelle Patterson's 9-year breakout finally happening. Next matchup here, we've got Corby versus Chris Colby, where I was the victor, and I picked Chris Colby. Fitzy and the coin picked me, and Brandy picked Chris Colby.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you could do this, Corby. Najee Harris only caught 6 balls, and somehow that feels like a bit of a letdown all of a sudden. All I can say is that next year is finally going to be the year that I own DJ Moore in at least one league. He looks like he's so much fun to own.
Yeah, he's awesome to own. I've never even seen any of his fantasy stats prior to this year. Like, I just love to see at least 20 points in my starting lineup every week. The only thing that I'm concerned about for my future is
Buster Badfield.
I survived him, you know? I survived
Buster Badfield.
when he was the least accurate quarterback of the entire week. I mean,
Buster Badfield.
just sucks, right? To Chris, bummer that you got 0 from Chark. You've got some injury holes you need to fill, but I've got the utmost faith in you.
Corbett, you're dead on.
Buster Badfield.
Scoring less than 10 points is a letdown to be sure. Yeah, on Chris's side, yeah, your QBs are on fire, man. The problem, though, is that your wide receiver core is on fire. Like, put it out. Like, I hope for your sake that Josh Gordon and T.Y. Hilton look like their 2014 selves. But, I mean, think about how much more you hurt now than you did in 2014. So I wouldn't bet on Josh Gordon and T.Y. Hilton being much this year. Next up on my list was Chris P. taking on Taylor. Everybody picks against Taylor, including the coin. And we should know by now that a pissed off Taylor is going to rock this league. Even his bench was putting up points. You look at Kenneth Gainwell, Taysom Hill, Latavius Murray. They scored 4 rushing touchdowns between them. That's just crazy. For him to win when Keenan Allen's only putting up 36 receiving yards without a touchdown has to feel good.
Awesome win by Taylor. Deontay's looking great back out there. I am a little concerned about David Montgomery's health for the future. Chris P, not the worst week, but you had some guys on the bench pop off, which is unfortunate. Hopefully we can set our rosters correctly.
Seriously, Chris, I mean, I looked at your scores and I don't know how you only put up 149 points. And then I looked and I realized that it was Mike Williams. He came crashing back to earth. I didn't watch the game, but Yahoo tells me, quote, Justin Herbert missed Williams on what likely would have been an 82-yard touchdown in the first half. So that's the difference between a win and a loss right there. I think your team is better than the 2-2 record that it's showing.
Agree.
Next on my list here, we had Mike B taking on Brandy. And I think the craziest thing here is that Mike should have scored even more.
Why did he play Zach Wilson?
What? This has got to be the last week that he put. Like, Mike, you
No
scored
more
200 points,
no
but we're
more
still going to
glory
find a way.
plays.
We're still going to find a way to trash you here.
Stop the
How
glory
do you
plays.
start?
Stop. You need to stop.
Oh God! Like some people are just lucky, huh? What an idiot! Nah, I'm kidding, man. So Debo, or Debu, as I like to call him, he's crazy. I wish I had never drafted Ayuk.
Mike, welcome back to the league. Great to have you here. Excellent statement victory. On Brandy's side of the ball, you didn't even have a bad week. You were just unlucky because you played Mike.
Yeah, Brandy, you currently own 2 of the most mobile starting QBs in the league now that Trey Lance is in. That's got to feel pretty good, right? A lot of fun's been had saying, haha, Sam Darnold's leading the league in rushing touchdowns. Ha ha. Look at that funny statistical anomaly. But I really believe he can sustain this. For those that don't know, his friends actually refer to him as Sam the Truck Stick Darnold.
I've heard that before. In our next matchup, we had Tyler versus Fitzy, where Fitzy was the victor. I and Fitzy picked Tyler, and Coin and Guest picked Fitzy. Kind of a stinky matchup, in my opinion. Some letdown performances over here. I'm going to go and quote you, Fitzy, from a couple weeks ago, where you said, maybe you should just drop Chubba Hubbard. Maybe you should just drop him. He's... Ugh. Tyler, you completely shit the bed. You know you have a problem when you score 115 points and Pat Mahomes has 26% of them.
Yeah, I've got a question for you on that one, Corby. Did you see any of the Kansas City versus Philly game this weekend?
No, I didn't watch any of it.
Okay, did you see the stats, though, where Patrick Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns?
No.
Right? So he threw 5 touchdowns, and Jalen Hurts on my side threw 2, right? So how the heck does Jalen Hurts only score 1 fewer fantasy point than Mahomes? It just, something feels off there. This is a funky matchup, like you said. I feel like Tyler still was the right team to pick here. I had the 3rd fewest points in the league, but between Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook just not scoring a touchdown, and a return to single digit from the flex play combo of Jalen Reagor and Mecole Hardman.
Right.
I definitely just got lucky here.
Yeah.
No other way to say it. This is the last one of the week. So recapping Adam versus Colin. Adam squeaks out the win. Corby and the coin were both on Adam. Fitzy and Brandy were picking Colin because, quote, I'm scared of him, if you recall Brandy from last week. Yeah, on Adam's side, for Logan Thomas to score 0 points before leaving the field with an injury, Myles Gaskin putting up 0.3, and he wasn't injured at all. And Odell, he only caught 2 passes. How does he win? It's because of a 4-interception, 3-sack shutout by the Buffalo defense. I don't want to say that's fluky, but that's what catapulted Adam to the top here. That's what stopped the Joker from raising his head. And on Colin's side, a bunch of guys who had down weeks, Marvin Jones, Kirk Cousins, Hawk, they're all standing out as guys who are definitely going to score more in the future. It just turns out we were wrong to call this one the matchup of the week, right, Corby?
Really sucks when you see Cole Beasley and Marvin Jones Jr. combined for 9 points together. Absolutely insane. Adam, great W. Love to see James Robinson back in James Robinson's season. I do want to say, Colin, I think you're onto something with Hunter Renfrow. I think this guy is going to be this year's Cole Beasley. You know, a scrappy gym rat receiver. He's like 4'7". He's going to catch like 120 balls.
Seriously. Plus his tackle. Did you see his tackle on that punt?
Yeah, I did.
Coverage?
Oh, it was so good.
That should have been worth 30 fantasy points. Colin should have won so just good on that. Like that, yeah. That should count towards something.
So as it stands, we are at Fitzy at 15-9, Corby 12-12, Coin at 11-3. And our guest picks were 2-4.
Yeah, the coin got everybody except for Taylor right this week. So all of a sudden, I don't want to give it the point spread anymore. I'm starting to feel the coin's pressure, man.
I know when I was doing the tally while we were getting this ready together, I was like, oh shit, coin had a really good week this week.
5-1 for the coin.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Let's hope that the coin falls off a little bit in this week's pick'em.
Matchup number 1, we've got Chris Colby versus Colin. Revenge game versus revenge game. Both of these teams want a W. Like I said earlier, Chris has a lot of holes he needs to fill with his roster with Gronk and Chark out. But I don't think that Nick Westbrook Ickline, is that how you say his name?
The Alkaline Battery.
Alkaline. The Alkaline Battery can be that replacement. Although, maybe Josh Gordon can be. I'm going to take Colin this week, Chris. I still respect your team, though.
Yeah, I think Chris Colby's team, I mentioned the wide receiver core on fire. With DJ Chark and Jamar Chase not scoring a touchdown last week, really got exposed last week, I think, as a team. And I don't think it's going to get fully righted this week. So give me Colin here in a big bounce back spot for Grimace. But I do believe that Chris Colby's team is going to get things figured out. They're going to find somebody on the waiver wire, somebody who can fill in that wide receiver slot. The coin picks Chris Colby here, going against our picks, which makes me a little nervous.
Next matchup, we've got Adam versus Chris Cloud. James Robinson is back. Your QBs are in great form as well. I'm taking Adam.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited here to say that, yeah, nobody in the league is undefeated and nobody in the league is winless right now. But because of this matchup, somebody's going to drop to 1-4 and somebody's going to have a tough time crawling back into things here. Adam, I like your team. I do. But I don't understand why you put Lance Lynn as your photo in this league, other than I guess he looks happy in the picture. I had to look up who number 33 on the Chicago White Sox is. So even though you've made a league-leading 17 moves at the time of recording, to Chris Cloud's league lowest 1 move, I have to question, do you even know what sport you're playing? Corby, give me Chris Cloud here.
Okay.
And the coin agrees. Chris Cloud for the coin.
Coming up next, we've got Corby versus Brandy. Unfortunately, there are no storylines here. Our paths have not crossed before. Brandy, you keep continuing to put up good pointage, but you've got bad luck. Is it finally Trey Lance time? Even with Buster Badfield, I'm taking myself.
Oh, boy. Well, first of all, the coin is going with Brandy. And I think this could be the matchup of the week. Corby, your team's on a roll. And Brandy's entered a bit of a tailspin here in the past couple of weeks. Your defense gets to face Davis Mills this week. That's nice. And from top to bottom, I do like your team better. but I'm picking Brandy for the purpose of the show. I don't have to explain myself to you. Go, Brandy.
Up next on the docket, we've got Chris P versus Fitzy. I think both of these teams are very solid, but I'm taking Chris P.
You know, Chris P, I think he's got my favorite roster in my league, top to bottom. He's got some injuries he's working through. Chris, I'd like to publicly offer you my whole roster for your whole roster in a trade. If you want to make that happen, offer it up to me. I pick Chris to win unless he accepts that trade, and the coin's rolling with him. It's a round of Chris P for the podcast today.
Oh, would you look over there? It's Tyler versus Eric. Eric is looking to maintain momentum after a great victory last week. I said last week, all you needed to do was find your Josh Gordon. Is Cordarrelle Patterson your Josh Gordon? We're about to find out. Cash out a putrid week. I'm taking Eric.
So I'll make this quick. Taylor Heineke is in love with Terry McLaurin, and Calvin Ridley's playing against the Jets. Do not, I repeat, do not press the panic button. I think Eric keeps things rolling here in week 5 to improve to 2-3. The coin's contrarian here. Tyler, you have a fan in the coin.
And finally, we've got Mike versus Taylor. Is Mike on the rise after a 209-point week? Have Saquon and CEH finally arrived? Will you continue to keep playing Zach Wilson? I do love Kenneth Gainwell and Deontay Johnson, but I'm still taking Mike.
I am so glad we're closing here with this matchup. Taylor has to choose between starting Kenny Gainwell and Latavius Murray, not in the flex, mind you, but as a running back slot. And on Mike's side, you've got some juicy matchups to consider. You got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin about to feast on the vulnerable Miami secondary. But I'm left with a choice, Corby. I can either doubt Taylor and piss him off, or doubt Mike and piss him off. So I'm keeping up with the heel turn and picking Taylor this week. There's no way Saquon Barkley can score 19 points. The coin agrees. The coin wants Taylor.
And you know what I want, Fitzy?
What do you want, Corby?
I want to make a bet. It's time for bets of the week. To recap last week, we had more catches, Fitzy versus Corby's team, where Fitzy got in a 3.5-point spread. I won this with a total of 42 catches. Even with the spread, Fitzy had less than 42. Our next bet was not between me. It was between Fitzy and Brandy, where Josh Gordon Fab Dollars was on the mind. Over 5.5, Fitzy wins because there was 0 bids.
I'd like to give us a quick update on a bet we made last week. The bum bet, total yards from scrimmage on the season. Corby has Josh Gordon to my Le'Veon Bell. They will both be active this week, and so far Le'Veon has been spotted an 11-yard lead.
So, what do you got for this week, my friend?
I got 3 potential bets here for you, Corby.
I'll squeeze between you because I've got 2.
All right, sure. So I'm going to start things off because you know I love the Jets, Corby. I think the Jets versus Falcons this week is going to be a shootout, but I also think these teams are bad. So let me lay this out for you. The Jets have attempted 5 total field goals this year. That's 1.25 per game. The Falcons have done the same. 5 total, 1.25 per game. Just 10 for the whole year. I want to bet that in this game, the total number of field goals attempted will be over 4.5.
You'll take the over on that?
Right?
Oh, yeah, I'll take that. That's a great bet.
Absolutely.
Love this bet.
Lock it in.
Great. I've got a bet as well, but I'm bringing a season-long bet. It's another bum bet, because we love bum bets. More catches for the rest of the season. Hunter Renfrow versus Cole Beasley.
I have to pick Hunter Renfrow.
Okay.
I love Derek Carr. I'm picking Renfrow.
Okay, I have an alternative because I don't want Cole Beasley either. I would take Emmanuel Sanders instead of Cole Beasley.
You would take Emmanuel Sanders?
I think so.
Here, I can see you making a face, Corby. I want to offer you an alternative spread. One more alternative to your alternative. I will take Hunter Renfrow plus Bryan Edwards if you take Emmanuel Sanders plus Cole Beasley.
Okay, I like that. That works for me.
Let's get even more invested in Bryan Edwards.
Great.
Mike, trade him to me, and then I'll stop hating your team.
I always need a reason to cheer on Emmanuel Sanders.
For the next bet, I want to play a little bit of NFL fantasy football with you, Corby. Earlier, you bet that Chris P would beat me. You also bet that Mike would beat Taylor. I want you to pick the team that you think will score the most points this week.
Me. I will score the most points this week.
Darn. My bet was going to be Corby's going to score more than whatever you picked. So it looks like we both agree you're going to do well. So we can scratch that bet. Corby, you've got another one for me?
Yes. This is a Josh Gordon bet.
Oh, God. Under.
Sunday Night Football. Josh Gordon returns. Josh Gordon total snap count over under 20.5%.
Ooh, that's good. Percentage. Give me the under.
I'll take the over.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I could see it.
Fire up your Josh Gordon. So he's got a whole extra afternoon to prepare with the team compared to everyone playing in the 1:00 games. So it could happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Final bet of the week. Mike Bekonowitz asked us to keep disrespecting him. And I'm here to oblige, Corby. I bet that Mike and his no-name squad of complete losers will be bottom 3 in total points scored this week.
I think that will. I think it will too.
Darn. It's too bad neither of us believe in Mike.
Yeah, you suck, Mike. Speaking of Mike, let's go to the mailbag.
All right. So dipping into the mailbag. First, a little bit of cleanup. Colin posted a comment on the episode 4 of the pod after we recorded last week. So we're going to slot you in first. And Colin asks, who has been the biggest disappointment this season to you guys? Corby, your thoughts?
Oh, certainly Mike. Yes. His big loser poo-poo pee-pee squad sucks. Big disappointment.
I wish I could give an interesting and different answer here. But yeah, Mike's squad is just kind of bad top to bottom. Deebo Samuel, he's not going to sustain this. You kidding me? You kidding me? He played the Pittsburgh defense against Aaron Rodgers. What a jerk. What an idiot. So anyway, next to the mailbag.
We've got a couple of responses from Colin here. Colin says, I think Brandy's team name should be Pollard Greens, like collard greens. Now, Fitzy, I want to ask you, I think that we should rate these names out of 10. So let's start with Pollard Greens. What do you think?
First of all, we should be rating these because the winner gets to be the first guest on the pod. And for my money, the only correct way to do this is by a fair panel of judges. I'm going to give this one a pretty high score. I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10 on Pollard Greens. I think it is very creative. It's got that right mix of kind of a bum, which I think it's nice to name teams after, and a little bit of creativity in the sense that it's Pollard instead of Collard. Only losing a couple of points on the fact that he had to explain the joke in the comments, but otherwise a solid team name. Yes,
definitely agree. I would give it a 9. I think it's excellent. Colin's second question is, what teams do you think are better than their record?
So I already kind of spoiled this one earlier. I think I've got 2 answers here. You're probably going to agree with me on these. Chris P at 2-2 should be closer to undefeated than precisely half defeated. And Eric's squad at 1-3. Again, don't press the panic button. I think this team is going to find a way to crawl itself back.
Agree on Eric. Don't totally agree on Chris P, to be honest with you. But I would also add Brandy's team. I think Brandy's team is pretty damn good. Next up, we had a comment from Adam. Adam says, I'm going to beat Colin by 50 plus.
He didn't.
Next up, we had a couple of comments here from Mike. First, he says, I just wanted to send out a message to our gracious hosts. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Fuck you. To the coin, thank you. He then comments in, Brandy's team name should be, and here I'm going to go third, because he listed a few here.
Yep.
So Corby, I'm going to give your thoughts on future Hall of Famer Corey Davis.
2.
I agree with the sentiment. At the same time, I still kind of think Corey into House is a better incarnation of the same name. So I'm going to actually agree. I'd give that a 2 right there.
And Corey into House, definitely much better.
Next, we've got Kamara Get Your Love. Thoughts, Corby?
This one's pretty good. I'll give it a 7.
Oh, see, I just feel like Kamara's got camera right there. We're sticking to just the first syllable. I feel like this one's more of a 4 from Mike. And then finally, Waddle Baby.
0.
I thought this was the best name. I'm giving it a 9.
I don't even get it.
You know that song, Wobble Baby, Wobble Baby, Wobble Baby, Wobble.
Oh, -5.
So if we average those out, I think his best score would be 2. So he's unfortunately not going to move on. It looks like Colin has won the who will be the next guest on the pod. Colin, congratulations. Can't wait to schedule a time for your interview.
Looking forward to it, my friend.
Oh, wait, sorry. Looks like Mike had one last comment here. Let's see if we can get somebody else to read this.
To all the non-believers. How did that? To all the non-believers. Especially you.
Fitzy.
Way to have our back.
Corby.
Anybody can be beat.
So how did that just feel?
Felt great. Poetic justice. We know we were a much better team than we came up and represented ourselves. And we're pissed off. We was ready to come back and show what type of defense, what type of team this was, what kind of character we had. We take a lot of slack. People gave us no chance, like we barely made it in playoffs. We're a good football team.
It looks like this team played with anger all day. Why, Bart?
For all you non-believers, disrespect us, talk crap about the...
Now we're starting QPs. All we hear is about our bad luck and not starting the right people.
They can't stop a nosebleed.
We got Deebo Samuel and we're the ones who get disrespected. See you in week 5.
Can't wait.
As we're on the way out now, it's time for the question of the week, where we ask you to answer our question down in the YouTube comments. This week's question: Fitzy has never owned DJ Moore, but really wants to. Who's the player you've never owned that you want to change your tune on next year?
Oh, that's a great one. I can't wait to see the comments that we get on this video.
Yeah, and maybe I'll lead it off. I've never owned Dalvin Cook before. That might be fun. Well, that about wraps it up, folks. I gotta go play some games. You know, it's time. It's gamer hour. Fitzy, thanks as always for being here and providing some sort of semblance to a professional podcast.
Thank you, Corby. It is indeed the Witcher hour. Time to go play The Witcher.
Once again, thanks for listening. Don't forget to tap lightly, maybe sensually, that darn like button. Ring the bell as well. As always, I'm Corby.
I'm Fitzy.
And gamers, game on! Woo!